and have just wanted to confirm and reconfirm and confirm. And the same things come up all the time about this Mabus and the fact that Mabus is not an Arab. Maitreya is Arabic, but Mabus isn't. Mabus is an Israelite. Mabus is an opponent of Maitreya's. Mabus begins a movement to destroy Maitreya before Maitreya even arrives on earth. Mabus is a woman, and they go back a ways. They're two total opponents against each other, fighting against each other. And so to make an example of everybody else who would dare come against this Maitreya, he kills Mabus as a public example, not to come up against him. And so this is what sparks a lot of anger and shock throughout the world, because obviously Mabus is a pretty harmless person, certainly not deserving of a public death that Maitreya gives her. And so it's interesting. It's really interesting. And, it's just the battle wages on. Like I've always said, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. Can't always talk about things on the Internet because you tip off too much information to the other side. And that's why I've always said, if everybody is seeking the Lord for the truth in all things and seeking His will for them daily, we'll all be on the same page. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows the same stuff. He's leading everybody into the same truths. And I've seen that happen a lot already. A lot of people being led to the websites and just really growing in the Lord and finding out who they are in Him and what He has planned for them and what they need to be doing. A lot of warriors waking up and standing up and going to war. Definitely this whole Oregon war we've been dealing with the last couple of years. And I've talked about Oregon, and so many people are like, well, that's New Age. And it's like, it's not New Age. Crystals are not New Age. Nothing is bad in and of itself. It's what you do with it that's either good or bad. If you have a problem with crystals, you have a problem with heaven. And the Lord is leading and standing up a lot of people into Oregon because we've seen everything that it can do. When David wanted to take down Goliath, the Lord led him to stones. And, the Christians in these last days who want to take down the New World Order and these alien freaks before they arrive, the Lord has led them to Oregon. And so every time that the Lord's people have needed something, have needed a weapon or something, for whatever circumstance they were in, the Lord led them to something to use or to do. And so I don't see Oregon any different than what He led David to do. David picked up 5 stones to just take down Goliath. He killed his brothers along with him. And when you're praying for the Lord for some kind of weapon, something to do, to tear down the strongholds of Satan and Lucifer and this whole New World Order system that's coming, that's where He led me to. He led me to Oregon. And so, the last couple of years I've been trying to get it distributed around the world, distributed around the country. I have a couple websites up on it now, tearingdownstrongholds.com, OregonWarriors.com, OregonBlasters.com. There's just so many things it does. And it appeals to so many different people for different reasons. If you're getting bombarded by chemtrails, if you saturate your neighborhood or your yard with Oregon, the chemtrails can't penetrate it. Chemtrails can't stick because Oregon assimilates into the atmosphere. It assimilates into the air. It's a living energy. It's a positive energy. It was rediscovered by Wilhelm Reich, who had rediscovered the energy of Oregon. I'm going to say rediscovered because in the last days there's nothing new. The stuff was used in the Old Testament. In fact, in the Bible codes, when you look at Oregon, the Tanakh in the Old Testament, come up constantly. And so, people always ask me, well, where in the Bible is Oregon? And it's like, other than the fact of seeing it in the codes constantly, in the Old Testament, in the Tanakh, you can think of the Ark of the Covenant. The Lord always takes me to that. And the fact that the wood, the specific wood that was used, was a foundation. And the fact that the garments inside the Ark of the Covenant that were overlaid with certain crystals and jewels. You start to see some of the ingredients coming together. Also the fact that there was gold present, you start to see all of the similar things that are in orgone that are surrounding and inside the Ark of the Covenant itself. And so others have picked up on that too, and they're putting up websites. You might want to Google it, but it's definitely coming into as a weapon these last days, as a positive energy that destroys negative energy. Negative energy can't stand to be around it, and so what does the darkness do when it's around light? It will just leave, because this is a light it cannot penetrate. This orgone energy is such a strong positive energy that darkness can't penetrate it. Darkness can't stand to be around it. In fact, evil beings that even come into a vicinity of orgone, it will burn them, and they can't breathe around it. And, people say, has this been tested? Yeah, it has. You have some people that will just order a pendant, and I've seen this myself. I gave an older woman, a friend of mine, one of my orgone pendants, and she just broke out in boils. And it was because she was harassed, probably possessed with demonic spirits. And if she kept it on just a few more days, they probably would have left her. It would have been a self-deliverance, because the demons wouldn't have been able to stand staying within her because of the orgone. Any place you put orgone, you put it in your house, it's going to chase out demonic entities. Houses that are always in anger and in strife, you don't feel comfortable being in your own house, put orgone in it. Demonic entities won't stay where there's too much positive energy. You can anoint your home, but the problem with just anointing it with oil and chasing out all the demons and bad spirits in your home, or even your churches, is the fact that people keep bringing them in with them. It doesn't last forever. But I have found that orgone does. Orgone is a continuing energy that the Lord has let us do. And they won't stay with it. And it just keeps producing over and over and over and over and over again. It never runs out. It never fades out. People can't bring in demonic spirits with them because they won't stay. They won't stay in an area with orgone. They'll leave. And so it's definitely just 1,001 uses type weapon that the Lord's given us. And I have seen over and over and over again how when Lucifer comes with his armies, how they're just in shock. They're completely shocked what's happened here. Because they spent all these years envisioning how it's going to be when they come to rule the earth, when Lucifer finally arrives, and we're headstrong, heading right into the last days. And they can't stand to be here. They can't breathe. The orgone, the air is burning them. It's almost comical. And so, for now, if it would have happened today, there's a couple areas around the world that, they wouldn't be able to stand to be in or whatever, But I'll tell you what, by the time they do arrive, we're going to have this country saturated from one coast to the other. And they're not going to realize it until they get here. And that's why I see all the time in the Bible codes that when Maitreya arrives, he's angry. He's angry. And before I even started on with the orgone, the Lord led me to the orgone. I couldn't figure out why he was so angry when he came here. What's he so angry about? And the first thing he does when he comes is the first descriptions of him is just, other than the fact that he's a magician. He's going to go around and do magic tricks and deceive the Muslims into believing he's their Messiah. But he's very angry. He's angry. And it all comes down to the orgone.